Sometimes with movies, it's like you don't know until you've watched it maybe 3 times. Like, I think it can be the same way with music for me. There's like albums that I've listened to where I'm a big, you know, like 80s and 90s like punk rock guy. I remember when The Gray Race came out by Bad Religion. I listened to it and I was just like, that was it. And then I listened to it, like I bought it, so I listened to it more and more. And by like the 3rd day of listening to it, I was like, yes, this friggin' album rules. And sometimes you get the same kind of feeling with a movie. Sometimes it goes the opposite way. Like, I can't stand Donnie Darko, but the first time I saw it, I was like, wow. But the 3rd time I saw it, I was like, what the hell, man? What the hell?
One of the worst
I'm still kind of wow about it. I love that director's cut. I'm sorry. I liked them holding my hand better than having to figure it out.
Because it was like 20 minutes longer, and it was one of those situations where the length of the theatrical cut of Donnie Darko was perfection. I love Donnie Darko, perfection. But when I watched the director's cut, it just I was like, oh man, they're just like, I feel like they're wasting my time now. But you know, that happens with director's cuts. Like Kingdom of Heaven is the opposite. Kingdom of Heaven, the theatrical cut is just kind of okay, it's a good, like, you know, throwaway period piece. The director's cut is one of the greatest freaking period pieces I've ever seen in my life. You know, so that's just Kingdom of Heaven. You guys haven't seen Kingdom of Heaven, Ridley Scott?
I haven't.
Oh, dude.
No.
Well, watch the director's cut if you watch it. It's like in like movie circles and movie forums, and people always bring up a great, you know, Kingdom of Heaven being like the standard for the director's cut. How making a director's cut from a 3 out of 5 movie to a 5 out of 5 movie. That's what, you know, that's how important editing is, I guess, right?
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
You guys know. Cecil, did you have a longer cut in mind for your Freddy movie when you did it, or was it always going to be, you knew exactly the cuts that you needed to make?
The only thing that we ended up cutting were 2 to 3 Freddy jokes. There was specifically 2 during the psych attack at the end that play in the script, but when we got on set, one of them we nixed because we changed a line of dialogue, or I had to come up with a new line of dialogue that I think was better than what was in the script because we opted not to do the joke. But for the most part, it was what I wanted to shoot. Now, that's not to say that I don't write material that needs to get cut before shooting, because that definitely happens. Like, I tend to overwrite. You know, the first script for DNN2 is 180 pages. So it's a 3-hour movie as is right now. We're going to be actually having a meeting about what direction we want to take soon. It's not going to be that version. That to me is the ideal version. That I basically wrote a version if I got all the toys that I wanted. It's the version I would sell to the studios to be the last Robert and Heather Freddy movie, but within the Dylan's New Nightmare framework, which is what Robert has said would be, you know, a way that he would want the story to have continued anyway. But so I write everything. I write long, and then we decide what really is important, and then we shoot that. So I don't tend to have a lot of that, but I am not against having that stuff. You know, if I wasn't as budget conscious,
that's what
I would have an easier time shooting that extra stuff. Yeah.
Do you? I'm going to get Chappie's question here in a second, but I got because you've made a really good fan film, and we've talked about this, I think, on the last episode of Hit the Bricks. But I'm always fascinated by fan films and how they've evolved over the past few years to the point where you actually have talent that was actually in the real movies in the fan films now. And I mentioned this before, but I don't know if I'll tell you, Cecil. Like, I talked to Danielle Harris when I was at one of the conventions, and I asked her, "Would you ever do a fan film?" And her answer, and it might have been a political type answer, but she was just like, "Actually, I don't think it was I think she was being honest." She said, "I don't want to piss off the Akkads, Malik Akkad. That's the reason why I wouldn't do it." But my opinion on that is, I think the window is starting to close. You know, just because she's getting older, the Jamie Lloyd storyline, I think it's got a shelf life, and maybe we're past that shelf life. But I think eventually you know, like whatever comes out next for Halloween, be it the TV series or there's a new movie coming out and it's not involving Jamie Lloyd, I think she might change her mind. And I think somebody could talk her into actually doing like a sequel to Halloween 4 or 5 fan film. Do you think that that's something that's viable?
I do. The Jamie Lloyd story, yes, especially, right? Because that was a big thing, right? Like she was set up to be the new Michael Myers, and I quite like 4 and 5. I probably would have a lot more gripes now than I did growing up, but I liked all the Michael Myers movies growing up. Like as much as I like to give the walking wall shit now, I really enjoyed those movies growing up because you know, it was a slasher and I love slasher movies, and you know, but yeah, it's the shit, I forgot the where I was headed on that.
The Jamie Lloyd ever doing a fan film?
Sorry, refresh me on the Jamie Lloyd. Yes. So no, I do think if she, now I understand her saying, but I also understand that with relation to the Akkads, they tend to be a lot tougher on fan films, from what I understand. Like I've heard some cease and desist that have gone out to some longer fan films and stuff. So I think Malik is a lot more. Is it Malik and his son, or is it vice versa, Malik and his dad? Either way.
Well, his father died.
Protective about
Mustafa Akkad. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So it's Malik. Okay. So they're a lot, but I think it could be that they're a lot more protective of it because it's an active fucking franchise. It's not the same with Jason and Freddy right now. So that could be why Vince and I have gotten away with what we've gotten away with. And Dave too, McCray, you know, with the Billy stuff, because Black Christmas is not, well, I mean, technically it was active in 2019, but who counts that piece of shit?
Yeah, right.
So yeah, I do think that I agree with the thinking that if the next thing doesn't involve her, which I would be very surprised if it did, I think that it would be smart for her to revisit because it would please a lot of the fans. But to that end, it would have to be a short, right? They couldn't do a full length because they shut down all full length Halloween movies, fan films. But yeah, I think it would be not a mistake, but I think it would be a bummer if she never revisited when such a large segment of the Halloween fandom would like to see her revisit.
Oh yeah.
And now, quite frankly, now fans are a little bit spoiled with thinking that people could come back. Like it's so funny the amount of comments that I still get to this day on DNN saying you should really get Heather back for the next one. Like you should have really got her for this one too.
Let me just get her on the old horn.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, we really should have. I should have thought about that when I made the sequel to New Nightmare. Why didn't I think about trying to bring Heather in? You know, like,
what an oversight.
Yeah. So it's funny that fans are starting to get a little spoiled on that end, but it's okay. You know, like that just means that they're getting quality material that the studios aren't delivering. And so to that end, I think it would be great if she did decide to revisit. I mean, look, let's be honest. Is she really booming right now? Like it's you know, like she had a part in Stream, I think is the last thing that I saw her in. Is it that? And
small part.
Yeah, small part that involves some atrocious editing, like the positioning of the bodies in the room changed entirely, like by the time we saw it later. But nonetheless, So it's like I don't know. There's the thing is, these fan films can raise these people's popularity where it's kind of waning, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I think it would be a good thing. I wouldn't be surprised either way. You know, a lot of these actors feel like they're too good for fan films, even if it's a good story, you know. So it's kind of depends on what their real thinking is. Yeah, exactly.
No.
Because all the other, like even Black Christmas, we're gonna Freddy, Jason, they have had actors from the actual movies be in fan films. So, but I think you're onto something. I think it's a legal type issue. Like if they dared do a fan film, Malik Akkad would probably come hunting. So, yeah, you know,
he'd come hunting with a drink in his hand.
Yeah, he would. You're hunting it, aren't you?
He's the happiest drunk I've ever seen. I envy him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's amazing.
Well, hello there. You just watched an outrageous clip from the Hit the Bricks
podcast. I really hope you enjoyed that clip. If you want to see more clips, you can click here or you can click here. And you can just have yourself a ball, all right? And also follow the Hit the Bricks podcast on Spotify as well. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful day.